Hi, thanks for helping out with the Future Keepers citizen science research project that I've been carrying out and helping and setting up sites at your particular location. What I left you with after I set up the warming chambers was a box of tricks. So in here are 8 seasons worth of sampling vials for you to collect every 3 months. So when I send you an email around saying it's time to collect, you'll be getting the appropriate season sample out. So make sure that, for example, the first one you'll be doing is the summer 2016-17 sample. So each one of the plastic bags has that label on it. So make sure that that's the one that you work with. So I'll put this back down the ground. And in this cookbook bag is everything you need for sampling the season. So firstly, you've got your sampling protocol worksheet. This is all the information you need just written in front of you. It also has some information you need to write on the front page. So the site name, the date, the time of collection, general weather conditions. That includes whether it's fine and sunny or warm. Generally, you're wanting to sample when it is fine and sunny and warm and not too windy. And if it's raining, then again, I've given you a 2-week period in which you can sample. So hopefully you can sample within a period where the weather conditions are reasonably good. You have a prepaid postage envelope in here as well. There is some methanol. That will be used once you come back into the lab after you've done your collection. Got a pair of forceps that stay with the ethanol back in your lab. And then we've got 2 small Ziploc bags with the vials in it. These vials here are actually going to be put into, they're the different diets. So these ones have a label on here which are warming chambers. So all these samples here, these 6 best vials here are for the warming chambers, and we've got 6 for the open. So what you do is start one bag at a time so they don't get mixed up. You take all these samples out of the bag, and the first one, the easiest one to start with, is probably the water, because this only contains one small vial within the big vial. So everything that you need for the diets is within this 50 ml vial. So open up the lid. Out of the way. Open up the lid. Take out the small 5 ml vial inside. Now make sure inside the bigger vial there's also a cotton wool ball and a label. Now if the label falls out, make sure you put it back in. Now that particular label also corresponds to the sticky label on the front. This one's mainly to make it easy for you to identify what diet is being used, and also what particular, if the samples are going into the warming chamber or in the open. So with the water, it's simply just opening up the vial and pouring in, and then you close the lid and then give it a bit of a shake. This mixes the diets up, but also allows the liquid to stretch across the entire length of the vial to make it easy for the ants to go to if they're interested in going to that particular food source. And then these will go back into your Ziploc bag, ready to go. These used vials, the lids can stay off, and these can go back into the larger Ziploc bag that's been sent back to UNE. Now the same thing occurs for the oil. It's just a single vial in here, which then gets mixed in to into the cotton wool ball. Like so. Now with the oil ones, make sure you do put the lid back on so it doesn't leave a mess in the Ziploc bag. Again, give these a bit of a shake around. Now you might find that the oil cotton wool ball gets stuck at the top. That's fine. When you get out into your site where your warming chamber or in the open is, you just push it down with a small stick. Now with the other samples we have, what we've got in here is so the honeydew mimic, which is here, the amino acid, the 1% salt and the sugar. All these have 2 vials in them. So if we take the sugar one, so again we've got 2 vials in here. One has got the actual diet itself and the other one's full of water. So these ones, you mix them together. And what we've found the easiest way is to pour the water into the powder. So you open up both vials, pour the water, all the water into the vial with the powder, and then give it a good shake. Put the lid on and give it a good shake. Now turn it upside down and make sure that there's no powder left at the base of the vial. Once it's fully dissolved, then it's good to go. And then again, pour this into the vial, into the same vial that you got the 5 ml vials out of, and then give it a shake. And then they're all ready to. That one is then ready to go. You do the same with the rest of the vials, and then you do the same with all the samples from the other treatment, so from the open treatment. Once you've done those, ready to go into the field. Okay, so we've got our vials where the diets have been mixed. So once you get out to your site, you just fill out the details on the front page of the sampling protocol booklet. So you put the site name, date, time of collection, so it's 12:30, and general weather conditions. Try and collect usually when it's fairly still and warm, and not too much wind. Also, if it is getting really hot during the middle of the day, you can sample earlier in the day or later in the day if you need to. But we're saying generally between 10 and 2 p.m. And also keep this with you and write down if there are any issues that arise either now or when you pick up your collection. So for example, if you might lose some ants, just write that down. It's not to say that anything's gone wrong, that it's a problem with your samples. It's just so we know if there's something that happened with the samples, and it might come into play when we do the analysis. Okay, so we'll put that in the car, and we'll take our 2 bags of samples. So we've got the open samples in one bag and all the warming chamber diets in the other bag. So go over to your close to where your Stevenson cages are, and what you do is you make sure that the cotton, the moistened cotton wool ball is round about the middle of the vial. Just take the lid off and place it down. Place it so the opening of the vial is facing away from the Stevenson cage, and put the lids back into the plastic bag. Do the Ziploc bag up. And I just sit these underneath the corner of the Stevenson, the warming cage. That's so the ants don't get to those as well. Okay, now do the same thing for the warming chamber vials. Remember, on the vial themselves, they say where they go. So these ones will go into the warming chamber. The oil won't get stuck right at the top. You just need to get a little bit of a stick or twig and just move it down halfway. That's fine. Lock the bag up and leave them for an hour. Alrighty, so an hour's gone. So we'll come back and pick up the samples. So when you're doing this, you're just trying to put the lids on as quickly as possible to take them back to the lab, and then we'll put the ethanol doused cotton wool balls inside the vials. So you don't necessarily worry about looking what's in them, you just quickly put the lid on and put them back into the container. Now with ones where there's a lot of them like this, you just have to be really quick to put the lid on. Okay, so they're ready to go. Now we'll do the ones in the warming chamber. Okay, they're done. I'll take these back to the lab and put the ethanol cotton wool balls back into them. Okay, so we're back in the lab after we've been out collecting, and here what we've got this is our booklet that we wrote information about the collections. We have our envelope which will send the samples back in. We have our ethanol, and give this a bit of a shake once or twice to mix up the liquid into the cotton wool balls. You'll have a pair of forceps as well to pick out the ethanol cotton wool balls and put them into the collecting chambers. And we have our samples, so these ones are from the warming chamber and these ones are from the open. So what we do, okay, so I've got our 6 vials from the warming chamber. Now if you do have a lot of ants in any one of these vials, you can put them into the freezer for 5 minutes to slow them down. So, but for most of these, there was a few ants in them, but we didn't have many, so we'll just leave them as it is. So what we do is just take the lid off and just check again, make sure that there's no ants close to the top of the lid. If they are, you just give them a bit of a flick, and that should dislodge them. And the easiest one is to start off with samples where you know there's no ants in. Even if you think there's no ants in there, you still put the ethanol doused cotton wool balls in there just to make sure that it's all been done. So we make the decision back in the lab whether there's anything in there or not. So with each one, you fill them up with 4 cotton wool balls. Put the lid on tight so the ethanol doesn't come out, and put them back into your plastic bag. Okay, so the next one. Now there's a few extra, if you put extra cotton wool balls in there, or if you forget how many you've counted, that's fine, because there are extra cotton wool balls in the bottom of the in the container. So you don't worry about having some left in there. Now if there are a lot of ants in one of them, and they are still running around again, the easiest way is to put them into the freezer, or else make sure that there is someone there to help you. Someone's holding the vial, and the other person's putting the cotton wool balls in, so it can happen quickly. Okay, so now we've we've used up all the cotton wool balls and put them all into the vials. Now the final thing you do is just get everything can now be sent back to UNE. If you want to keep any of the small vials or the forceps, you can. Otherwise, we'll just recycle them and use them for another sample. So just put everything back in. Make sure again the lids are on tight. Put all your samples in their bags back into again with the Ziploc done up, into the small bag, and also your booklet. Now, one thing I did forget to mention as well, it might be, if you might want to write this in pencil, just so that if the ethanol does come out, it doesn't run. So the biro generally runs if it gets connected with ethanol. So you can write that in pencil. But otherwise, put that back into the Ziploc bag as well. Do that. And then you've got your parcel post bag here. Make sure that you take the sticker off here and put it into your diary, just in case the package gets lost in the mail, so we know where to find it. And basically put those into the postage bag, sort of put it all together and put it in the post, and they'll come back to us where we can start sorting through them and identify the ants that you've collected from the sample. So again, thanks very much for helping out with this project. It's been fantastic. It's a great citizen science project, and we're collecting some really interesting data from around Australia, and we're going to be putting the data up onto a website once that's been fully developed, so you can actually compare what you're finding to some of the other sites around Australia. Thanks very much. Bye now.